Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jashodanandana Braja Janarandana Jashodanandana Braja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Varnachari Yamuna Jamuna Tira Varnachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jashodanandana Braja Janarandana Jashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Mili, kun je even naar Srimad Bhagavatam? Dank je vielmaal. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Cheva Narottamam Deving Sarasating Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We are continuing reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18, Text 22. It's not on the board. If you have your... It is? Ma praptaye jesha sura suradayas. Ma praptaye jesha sura suradayas. Tapyanta ugram tapa aindriye diya. Tapyanta ugram tapa aindriye diya. Rite bhavat pada parayanan namam. Rite bhavat pada parayanan namam. Vindantyaham tvatridaya yatojita. Vindantyaham tvatridaya yato. Sorry, just repeat one more. Vindantyaham tvatridaya yatochita. Mat praptaye jesha sura suradayas. Tapyanta ugram tapa aindriye diya. Rite bhavat pada parayanan namam. Vindantyaham tvat tridaya yatojita. Please chant. Ladies. mat praptaye, to obtain my mercy. Aja, Lord Brahma, Isha, Lord Shiva, Sura, the other demigods, headed by King Indra, Chandra and Varuna. Asura Adayaha, as well as the demons. Tapyante, undergo. Ugram, severe. Tapaha, austerity. Aindriyadiyaha, whose minds are absorbed in thoughts of superior sense gratification. Rite, unless. Bhavatpada Parayanat, one who is wholly and solely engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Na, not. Mam, me. Vindanti, obtains. Aham, I. Tvat, in you. Hridayaha, whose hearts. Yattaha, therefore. Ajita, O unconquerable one. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Supreme Unconquerable Lord, when they become absorbed in thoughts of material enjoyment, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, as well as other demigods and demons, undergo severe penances and austerities to receive my benedictions. But I do not favor anyone, however great he may be, unless he is always engaged in the service of your lotus feet. Because I always keep you within my heart, I cannot favor anyone but a devotee. Purport. In this verse, the goddess of fortune, Laxmi Devi, clearly states that she does not bestow her favor on any materialistic person. Although sometimes a materialist becomes very opulent in the eyes of another materialist, such opulence is bestowed upon him by the goddess Durga Devi, a material expansion of the goddess of fortune, not by Laxmi Devi herself. Those who desire material wealth worship Durga Devi with the following mantra: Dhanam dehi rupa patti bhajam dehi. That's interesting. I was reading it on my phone and there is a slight change here. Prabhupada's books are being changed. O worshipable Mother Durga Devi, please give me wealth, strength, fame, a good wife, and so on. By pleasing Goddess Durga, one can obtain such benefits. But since they are temporary, they result only in Maya Sukha, illusory happiness. As stated by Prahlad Maharaj, Maya Sukhaya Bharam Udvahato Vimudhan. Those who work very hard for material benefits are Vimudhas, foolish rascals, because such happiness will not endure. On the other hand, devotees like Prahlad and Dhruva Maharaj achieved extraordinary material opulences. But such opulences were not Maya Sukha. When a devotee acquires unparalleled opulences, they are the direct gifts of the goddess of fortune, who resides in the heart of Narayan. The material opulences a person obtains by offering prayers to the goddess Durga are temporary, as described in Bhagavad Gita. Antavattu phalam tesham tat bhavatyalpamedasham. Men of meager intelligence desire temporary happiness. We have actually seen that one of the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted to enjoy the property of his spiritual master, and the spiritual master, being merciful toward him, gave him the temporary property, but not the power to preach the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. That special mercy of the power to preach is given to a devotee who does not want anything material from his spiritual master, but wants only to serve him. The story of the demon Ravana illustrates this point. Although Ravana tried to abduct the goddess of fortune, Sita Devi, from the custody of Lord Ramachandra, he could not possibly do so. The Sita Devi he forcibly took with him was not the original Sita Devi, but an expansion of Maya, or Durga Devi. As a result, instead of winning the favor of the real goddess of fortune, Ravana and his whole family were vanquished by the power of Durga Devi. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shaktir Eka. End of purport. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatang Vitang Tvang Sajivam Sadvaitang Savadutang Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschattate Shatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Matpraptaye Jaisha Suradayas Tapyanta Ugram Tapa Indriya Rite Bhavat Pada Parayanam Namam Vidantyaham Tvat Tridaya Jato Jita. O Supreme Unconquerable Lord, when they become absorbed in thoughts of material enjoyment, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, as well as other demigods and demons, undergo severe penances and austerities to receive my benedictions. But I do not favor anyone, however great he may be, unless he is always engaged in the service of your lotus feet. Because I always keep you within my heart, I cannot favor anyone but a devotee. Hare Krishna. So we have a very interesting purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the verse itself, Laxmi Devi, who is the consort of Krishna, Lakshmi, Lakshmi Devi can give us wealth and prosperity. And she's saying that someone who is not having I do not favor anyone, however great he may be, unless he is always engaged in the service of your lotus feet. She doesn't give any benefit to someone who is not keeping the Lord's feet in the heart. Because she's only interested to serve the Lord, and then if someone doesn't want to serve the Lord, she's not inclined to give wealth to that person. And then Prabhupada in the purport speaks about an important point, that sometimes it looks like someone gets the blessings of Lakshmi, but actually it's not Lakshmi, it's Durga Devi. And he speaks about one devotee, his godbrother, who maybe some of you don't know the history, but I will briefly tell that. When Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, who had many disciples and also established an institution like ISKCON in India, the Gaudiya Math, when he left, then there was a big question, who will continue Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's legacy? And traditionally that's done in a temple, in an ashram in India, by another person, a disciple of this teacher, Acharya, to take this post as Acharya. That's traditionally how it is being done. But Bhaktisiddhanta, he didn't want that. He said, I don't appoint anyone, but you should manage collectively. And when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada then finally left, there was a big confusion about this. And eventually it was decided that one of the disciples will actually take this role of an Acharya, even though, as Prabhupada told us, Bhaktisiddhanta didn't want that. And this disciple, he became the successor of Bhaktisiddhanta, and so he was worshipped in a grand way, and he got almost all of the institutional assets, the temples. But then, at some point, he fell down. He was a sannyasi, and he fell down. And the whole institution broke apart. And Prabhupada is giving this example that one could say, as soon as someone receives power, wealth, fame, and all these opulences, that must be an empowerment, a blessing by Lakshmi Devi. But no, that's not necessarily the case. It can be also Durga Devi, and Durga literally means the one who is keeping us in a prison house. Durga means like walls. So whenever Durga gives a blessing, in terms of wealth, that wealth is like a wall that keeps us in the material world so that we cannot go out and do nonsense. Like in the prison here, why do people go to prison? Because if they are outside of the prison, then all the normal citizens, they will be disturbed by them. And in a similar way, all the living entities here, they are in the prison house, because if we would be in the spiritual world, we would disturb all the nice devotees and Krishna there, because of our false attitude. And so in this verse and purport, one very relevant question comes up to us. How do we understand that we are receiving a blessing by Lakshmi Devi or a blessing by Durga Devi? Because obviously, when we speak about the devotee Prabhupada speaks about this devotee, that was a very exalted soul. Srila Prabhupada had so many brilliant godbrothers, very brilliant, intelligent, devotional. So, and that devotee who was elected from all of those to continue, he fell down. That means it can even happen to someone who is very advanced in Krishna consciousness, but of course not fully pure. So therefore we should ask this question: how do I know that now I'm receiving a benefit by Laxmi Devi or Durga Devi? To understand, like in the case again of this devotee, we might live in an illusion and think, oh, I'm getting so much mercy, but maybe it's not the mercy of Krishna, it's the mercy of Durga Devi who tries to illusion us. I want to tell you a few examples how the Durga Devi can manifest her mercy and how Laxmi Devi can, or Krishna, can manifest the mercy. And it's not so easy to tell that, okay, if somebody receives benefits, wealth, then it's a mercy, or if it's taken away. It's not that easy, because we find there's different instances. And it's like a father who loves the child. Sometimes the father will give a gift to the child, and that's the mercy. Sometimes the father will not give anything. The father will punish the child, and that's also a mercy. It really depends on the circumstances, and it's not a black and white answer. We just heard about this point that Durga Devi sometimes gives wealth and blessings in a lot of opulence, and this is not really helping spiritually, but it is actually entrapping the conditioned soul. And there's one interesting statement that Bhaktivinoda Thakur made. Srila Prabhupada, he speaks about it in the Nectar of Devotion. I'm reading this. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has therefore said that the advancement of material knowledge renders a person more foolish, because it causes one to forget his real identity by its glitter. This is doom for him, because this human form of life is meant for getting out of material contamination. By the advancement of material knowledge, people are becoming more and more entangled in material existence. They have no hope of being liberated from this catastrophe. If we look into the world today and we have a little bit of an historical understanding, we can easily conclude that the advancement that is seen in today's world has never been there in the recent past like it is now. We have so much knowledge, and that knowledge has led to so much advancement. Tell a person 100 years ago that in 100 years people will have a small thing, and you can communicate with anyone on this planet and see them face to face, real time. Nobody would have believed it. It would have been like some fairy tale. Now we take it for granted, but that's how much advancement we have made. And we could think that, see how good we are doing. In the Christian tradition, there was a big split at some point, around 500 years ago. The Catholic Church, who at that time was very conservative, was questioned by certain individuals that there should be a reformation, and which took place. I'm sure Adrian knows much better than me. The Reformation took place. This, Protestant churches, different churches came up, and one of the main, I think also Krishna Prabhu knows well about this. One of the main points they had was that the worship of God is primarily by creating economic development, by working hard, and in this way that's actually the worship of the Lord. That was mainly their teaching. And yes, bro?
The base of the Protestantism, Max Weber from German wrote a book of this in the last century that explained how the Protestantism developed in the capitalism in America.
That's the foundation for the capitalism. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that point of we could think that we've been so advanced, or we are so advanced, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this is actually not a blessing, but it's a Durga Devi who is keeping us away from the Lord by this. And this is very important for devotees to understand. Srila Prabhupada was not at all in favor of this material advancement. He used it for the purpose of Krishna consciousness, but he had a strong desire that the devotees will show an ideal life which depends on Krishna's wealth. What's Krishna's wealth? Land, cows, nice jewelry, all these things which come naturally, and not the plastic wealth. All this is very artificial. But that's an example how, and Krishna Prabhu mentioned how this Protestant doctrine became the foundation for all we see today. And if we go to school, I'm sure many who went to school in the West, if you go to history, basically the image that is being shown to us is that previously human beings were so poor and degraded, and now we are so advanced. That's basically how we've been taught. But actually, according to Srila Prabhupada, it's completely the opposite. I think Prabhupada also mentioned once, some 200 or 300 years ago only, the whole thing shifted when the French Revolution came. And before, people were very God conscious. They would live a simple life, depend on nature. But then after that revolution, the industrialization came, and the whole, as Prabhupada would say, it's a demoniac lifestyle. Because it's not dependent on Krishna. It's dependent on my own strength and intelligence. So here, that's an example. We can see it all around. People, they appear to be wealthy, but they are actually not prosperous. Prosperity is something completely different. And we can look at it when we see people's mental state, when we look at their health. Even though they have externally, it looks like very comfortable, but if we look at the substance behind, it's not good. People are not mentally healthy and happy, and they're physically often very sick. Now there's many hospitals. Even that, it's getting portrayed in a different way to us, that previously people, they were suffering so much. And in a way that might even be true. But one thing is for sure, that meaning that physically they had more ailments and they didn't have that kind of treatment opportunities. But one thing is for sure, spiritually they were better off. Their consciousness was much more peaceful. They were more in sattva gun. Another example on the other side of Durga Devi giving punishment, which comes to my mind, is one time Srila Prabhupada was, one disciple told Srila Prabhupada about, in America, I believe, the government, they built houses and gifted it to the homeless. There were homeless people, and the government, they built houses and they gave it to these homeless people so that they had a roof, they had a home. And then they found out after some time that these homeless people, they sold the house, took the money, went back to the street and bought drugs and alcohol and basically continued living the way like before, and it became a big scandal because that money is basically just being wasted. The government money just went directly into supporting drug addicts and alcoholics. And Prabhupada's answer to that was, yes, that's actually, you cannot change nature's law. And the reason that they are on the street is because they are being punished by material nature for their sinful activities in the previous life. And he was saying, so better let them starve, better let them be hungry, because by this they become purified. Yeah, whoever hears this, you have to use a little bit of the intelligence to understand what Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada is not advocating that we should be okay that people suffer. No, Prabhupada wanted them to eat food, but the point he's making is, it is better that they get a punishment from material nature instead of them receiving artificial benefits which eventually will degrade them more. That was his point. So that's one example about Durga Devi, how she's giving that kind of blessing. And we know Durga Devi is also a servant of Krishna. So eventually she's actually helping us. All she's doing, the punishment even she's giving, on one hand she's protecting Krishna, but she's also in a way teaching us that if I behave correctly I will get a benefit, if I behave wrongly I will receive that punishment. Yes?
The gopis worship Katyayani Durga Devi.
Yes.
This is the best example.
But there something is interestingly mentioned by the Acharyas. Katyayani was worshipped by the gopis to receive the benediction to have Krishna as their husband. And the Acharyas, they explain how Katyayani, usually when somebody does a worship and a sacrifice for a particular deity to receive something, and we see in the scriptures many times, like I just read Vrikkasura, who it's very nice if you have devotees who know the scriptures well, then they immediately know the past. And Vrikkasura, he wanted blessing from Shiva, and Shiva, he cut up his flesh from his body and offered into the sacrificial fire. And Shiva didn't appear, and at one point he wanted to cut off his head and offer the head into the fire because he wanted to see Shiva, and then Shiva appeared. The point being that usually, even with Hiranyakashipu, we worship Brahma, that deity will appear to give the blessing. But in the case of that Katyayani Brata, Katyayani didn't appear. Krishna appeared. And they explained because Katyayani cannot give that blessing. So it's not that they received the blessing of getting Krishna by worshipping Katyayani, but it's because they performed devotional service. Now I lost my train of thought, but there is also the blessings of Laxmi Devi. And Srila Prabhupada, he was very fond of one verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes one type of blessing of Krishna. Just going to read it to you. This is a very important verse for you devotees. Please remember it. Yeah. Just read a little bit of the verses before. So Parikshit Maharaj in Bhagavatam, he asks, or he says, those demigods, demons and human who worships Lord Shiva as strict renunciate usually enjoy wealth and sense gratification, while the worshippers of the Supreme Lord Hari, the husband of the goddess of fortune, do not. That's Parikshit's doubt. How come? Shiva, he's a renunciate, he's living naked, and those who worship him, they get benefit. And those who worship Krishna, who has the goddess of fortune next all the time, they are usually not that wealthy, they are usually more poor. So how is it possible? We wish to properly understand this matter, which greatly puzzles us. Indeed, the results attained by the worshippers of these two lords of opposite characters are contrary to what one would expect. And then Shukadev Goswami said, Lord Shiva is always united with his personal energy, the material nature, manifesting himself in three features in response to the entities of nature's three modes. He thus embodies the threefold principles of material ego in goodness, passion, and ignorance. The 16 elements have evolved as transformations of that false ego. When a devotee of Lord Shiva worships his manifestation in any one of these elements, the devotee obtains all sorts of corresponding enjoyable opulences. It's clear, no? All the wealth which is made out of these elements, Shiva can easily give, and he's doing it by the Durga Devi, who is his consort, the material energy. Lord Hari, however, has no connection with the material modes. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the all-seeing eternal witness who is transcendental to material nature. One who worships him becomes similarly free from the material modes. And now the verse comes. Not yet. I just jump 2 verses. Yeah. So here now Krishna is speaking because Yudhishthira Maharaj, he had the same question to Krishna about this point. How come devotees are usually not so well off? And then Krishna answered this, and that verse was very dear to Srila Prabhupada. He liked this verse.
His personal publication.
Yeah. Yasyaham anugrinami harishetattanam shanai tattudhanam tyachantasya svajanas dukka dukkitam. The personality of God had said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. You want to hear it again? You understood the point, huh? That Krishna's mercy is he takes away everything. And Prabhupada liked this verse because that's what happened to him. Do you know that Prabhupada was at one point, he didn't have anything? He was completely poor. In the Lilamrita we hear about Srila Prabhupada, how he was a well-off businessman, but then his business went down, he lost everything, then his family became, his wife was very unhappy, the children were not satisfied, then he separated from them, he took Vanaprast. And at one point, the chapter is called Crying in Wilderness in the Lilamrita. Prabhupada was in Delhi, and we can read from letters that he's asking his godbrother to donate him some dhoti, because he only had dhoti with holes. He didn't have any money. He didn't have anything. No home, no money. And Prabhupada said, at this point, he came across this verse. And he felt very happy when he read that verse. He felt like Krishna is speaking to him directly, confirming that Abhacharan, Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami, this is my blessing to you. I'm taking away everything. And we can see how then later on in Srila Prabhupada's life, the mercy came in a completely different way. There was an astrologer who told the parents of Srila Prabhupada when they did the chart, when he was newborn, that he has the karma of becoming the richest man of India. Yeah, they told. And so Prabhupada knew that, and Prabhupada's idea was to make money by doing business, and when he has money, he can serve Krishna and spread the whole movement in the whole world. But Krishna had a different plan. He first made him poor, and then as a poor man he came to the West, and from the West, when he started to preach pure devotional service, so much wealth came and is still coming today. So all the wealth which we see in ISKCON, do you know how much value this property has? It's an expensive place, this house. And this is just one temple. Then look at all the other temples. If you go to India, there's huge properties. And that all belongs to Srila Prabhupada. And it's increasing more and more. So in a way that was true what was said by the astrologer, that Srila Prabhupada has the karma to become the richest Indian. Because he's so wealthy. But there is a difference between the wealth of other Indians and this wealth, because this is directly given by Laxmi Devi. It's not given by Durga Devi. And so this is another example. Laxmi Devi can sometimes take it away, and then she can give it. But how do we know in our life? What's your thoughts on this? How do we know in our life if this is the mercy of Krishna or if this is the mercy of Durga Devi? How can we analyze? Yes, Prabhu. Let him speak first.
Yeah, perhaps if we examine our own motives,
Mm-hmm.
then we could...
You want to take the mic?
Yes, by examining our own motives
Mm-hmm.
behind our activities, we might get some idea of who is blessing us. But that's also not so easy. Motives can be so hidden by false ego tricks.
Mm.
So ultimately, time will show.
Time will show.
Yeah.
Time will show, yeah. Yes.
If it reminds me on Krishna, then it's from Lakshmi, and if I forget Krishna, then it's from...
That's a nice point, yeah. I was also thinking of that, how the problem is, if you're in Maya, you will not understand it in that moment, no? Like, let's say you get wealth, and then you actually become distracted. It's not that, usually, that immediately you will like, now you have like millions on your bank account, you have a nice wife, and it's not like immediately you will like, oh my God, I'm forgetting Krishna. Let me try to get rid of it again. But usually what happens is Maya covers you so that you justify and you think you're well and you continue. The good thing is that once you have made a decision to surrender to the Lord, even if that happens, at some point He will take it away and bring you back to sanity. No, I remember Deenadayal Prabhu, you once read this quote to me, which is very powerful. Prabhupada writes that this path, Krishna consciousness, is so powerful that you are forcibly dragged to perfection, something like this. So even though someone might divert, and Prabhupada speaks about it, how devotees sometimes, due to wrong association, they divert, they get disconnected. And Prabhupada says, but we should understand that this is not the same like karmi who goes out and enjoys. It's actually Krishna who is teaching that devotee something. Yes.
Ир, переведи, пожалуйста. Мне кажется, еще есть внутренний критерий.
I think here is also inner understanding.
Когда я занималась бизнесом, я очень много общалась с богатыми людьми, и среди них было очень мало счастливых людей, точнее, не было вообще.
When I made business, I associated with many rich persons, and they were not satisfied, not happy.
А иногда, теряя бизнес, ты не ломаешься, а наоборот чувствуешь освобождение и счастливым себя. То есть парадоксальные вещи происходят с точки зрения материального мира.
Sometimes it looks strange from material understanding, but when person lose everything, lose business, then he feel like relief or freedom.
Yeah, thank you. Probably you also wanted to say something, yeah?
Yeah, something is taking us away from the Krishna service, then it is coming from
Yeah.
Durga. Otherwise,
Yes, similar to that point, yeah. Yeah, it's eventually we will see how, especially if we get something, how do we use it? If we use it in Krishna's service, then it's Laxmi. And if we don't, then it's not Lakshmi Devi, it's money. Money and Lakshmi is two different things. It's not the same. There's no black and white answer. We have to be very introspective and sincere. Yeah, to understand what's really happening in our life. But I think many of you don't have the problem of having too much, so let's not worry about this now. And if that problem comes up, call us. We'll try to help you engage it in Krishna's service. Thank you. Yes, Prabhu.
We have an example of a great businessman in Chaitanya Lila, who was Sridhar Kulavechar. Forward, but he make business, yes, selling bananas and bananas. But half of he get, he gives to a ceremony of Ganga. And opposed to this, in the pastime of Nalakumarina in Griva, when Narada Muni meet with them, Narada Muni explained about this. What is the problem of the treasure of the money opulence?
Mm-hmm.
The problem of the money opulence, Narada Muni said that this increase your false ego. Yeah? I'm rich, I'm a very powerful man, I'm superior of all another men. Yes? And with this big false ego, Krishna said bye-bye,
Yeah.
including the goals. Krishna abandoned by false ego. This is a great lesson to us. And Narada Muni concluded, when a man with this big false ego have a lot of money, what will he spend with intoxication and illicit sex? Only this. It's natural, yes, because he's a man, totally crazy.
Intoxicated,
and
yeah.
money with these things, intoxication and sex is the same. Eating, yes?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Prabhupada says that this wealth for a materialist is kind of an intoxication, like when somebody drinks alcohol, it confuses you, you become, in a way, your consciousness becomes numb. In the same way, someone who is wealthy, a materialist, he becomes intoxicated on a subtle plane. It reminds me, I was talking to a devotee just recently, and that devotee was telling me he's doing some distribution on the street, and he did also in Switzerland and in other places. And I asked him if he's coming to Switzerland again, and he told me, actually I don't like to distribute in Switzerland. And he then said, I spoke to a god sister also, who shared the same experience with me, that here what happens often if you go out, this Mataji is an elderly woman and she's very sincere and she just wants to go out and distribute some prasad and books. And many times when she approaches people, they will not even listen to her, they will just say, I don't need anything, I'm good. And she told him that, I feel so bad how they treat me. Like they're so proud. And you see in other countries, people who are poorer, if you go, everyone will at least wait and talk to you and see, do you need something? But people here are so puffed up that they feel like, see, they all want something from me. But I'm okay, I'm good. And that's exactly what it is. If you're wealthy, and Switzerland has a bad karma in that sense. Sometimes devotees from India, they come and say, how is it possible that you actually make devotees in this country? Because people are so in opulence. Yeah, you saw it yesterday also. No, people, they don't want to hear anything. They are just so intoxicated by opulence.
Do you know the joke that Prabhupada made about this? A great businessman, a great millionaire person said, I have all things. I have powerful, I have money, and with this I can buy everything, including these sannyasis that are bigger. They came to me to ask money to get money.
Oh, yeah.
I am the God. I am the God. And this is the first of
Yes. Yes. Okay, yeah. So we are over time. Those who like to, maybe there is a question or a comment. It's all clear, eh?
No, the topic is too deep, so we don't have time for it.
Yeah, it's a deep topic. We just touch on it. Maybe we speak privately, then we can finish. We can speak together, yeah. Okay? Jai Shri Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Laxmi Devi Ki Jai, Sri Krishna Bhagavan Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhishya.
Yeah. His grace.
It's okay to do I prefer without.
YouTube, don't put HG.
is all Krishna's mercy, actually I don't deserve.
Если это наш духовный учитель, что именно того понимания, что когда что-то плохое приходит, я понимаю, что это моя карма, и я должен был получить намного больше страданий, и милости Кришны, я получаю только карму. Но если что-то хорошее,
How I feel today.
That's good point. That's
Good
yeah,
behavior.
good. And materialistic people have opposite. When something good
Good,
happens,
good.
they say, see how good I am, how I do. And when something bad
You-
happens, they will
you
be
don't-
wise about
You-
history.
He's
Если
terrible
в
sometimes.
противоположном настроении, когда что-то хорошее происходит, они
Do you think it's the light from the front good because they painted and maybe some? Is it so symmetrically right?
How long do you see it?
Скажи, что третий Ватикан.
Benefactor of our religion.